across the world.
Absolutely.
I would say one of the biggest standouts, I mean, there were many standouts in your portfolio this year, but one of the biggest standouts was the San Lorenzo. This wine really sang to me. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the terroir of San Lorenzo, because it's quite unique from the rest of the area.
Okay. San Lorenzo is unique, or it is unique. It's one of the two most important terroirs on the north side, and the north side is the most important um, area for the reds, historically and today as well. The reason for that is that San Lorenzo and Calderara, and a little piece of Pignaturi, another little vineyard near here, another little part of a, of a group, have the oldest soils that haven't been covered by subsequent lava flows. So they belong to an era, a volcanic era, which is defined only in Etna as elliptical. That refers to a huge earth-shaking volcanic explosion around 17,000 years ago. That explosion covered the entire volcano, in fact changed the shape of the volcano itself, and therefore it was all one lava flow. Now, after, roughly 4 or 5 centuries, depending on the type of lava flow, the lava disintegrates into soil that can be cultivated. From those 70,000 years ago, there have been thousands of lava flows, but none of them covered Calderara or San Lorenzo. So these are, let's say, elliptical areas that haven't been modified after the 70,000 years ago. I learned this from going around with my Jeep with a really good friend of mine who's a geologist. And he enjoyed wine very much, so I would go vineyard by vineyard driving by, and he'd tell me about the soils, and I'd tell him about the wines, and then so I found out, hey, this is, coincidental. My two finest wines come from the two areas that have the oldest soil, so that must mean something. I don't know what it means, but it obviously has something to do with the capacity of the vineyards to nourish themselves better, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe the soil is broken down so much that the microparticles can be absorbed by the vineyard. I really can't explain. I don't know if it's explainable, but for some reason they deliver year after year the finest wines. And if that happens, it means that something in the soil is interesting thing is, for instance, Calderara is one of the first places to be harvested. So it's rather early ripening. And San Lorenzo is the latest, or one of the two latest to be harvested. It's much higher in altitude, and it's in a cooler climate, because whereas Calderara is perfectly due north. As you go northwest from north, it gets cooler. So the average temperature there is 5 degrees cooler by the year than it is here. So it's right on the cusp of the end of the appellation. So it's cool, and yet it has rich soils. For instance, Guardiola is cool, but has very poor soils. So the combination of rich soils and cool weather seems to also, I think, give it this wonderful richness, and at the same time a containment, not to go over the top. And in 23, for some reason, don't ask me why, but San Lorenzo really did really well.